Welcome to our channel where we talk about plant-based eating for busy people. And we're smack dab in the middle of summer. And it's barbecue season, it's picnic time, it's the time when you don't want to be cooking. You're in the kitchen all day, you don't want the heat from cooking and everything else. So I am delighted to share with you a couple of salad favorites. These will blow your mind. When I first made these and experimented with them, I did not expect this kind of flavor, this kind of awesomeness at all. So today we're going to make a pasta salad. Still trying to think of a name for it. It's got lots of basil, lots of tomatoes, we use some tofu that kind of tastes and feels like mozzarella. So maybe we'll call it Caprese pasta salad. I don't know, but this is a good one. I have some help from another grandchild today. He's already been snacking on our tomatoes, but let's go ahead and get started and get this salad going and show you how awesome it is. This pasta salad, the recipe, we started with the balsamic pasta salad recipe in this cookbook, which we love this cookbook, but we have adapted it for a couple of things. We wanted to add more protein, and we wanted to change a few of the ingredients for taste. We have simple tastes, and this one was a little exotic for us, so we changed the taste a little bit, and you'll see what our recipe is as we get started. One of the pluses of this salad is it is so good, so good. Everyone who eats it agrees, from young to old, and whether they're whole food plant-based or not. But it has no oil. This is a pasta salad with no oil, so extremely low fat and high protein, great fiber, and amazing taste. So you're gonna absolutely love it. All right, the first thing we're gonna do is prep our tofu. We added the tofu to give it some extra fiber and protein, but we want to bake it a little in the oven. We want to firm it up a little bit. We want to brown it up a little bit. So we're just going to take slices, and I have a baking sheet here with parchment paper. So I'm just doing thin little slices. This tofu, just so you know, is the extra firm. I didn't bother pressing it. I just put it in this dish towel and let the water soak out of it a bit. And when this is in the salad, it looks and acts just like cheese, actually. We're going to cut it in smaller pieces, and so it adds that protein. All right, so we're just going to lightly salt this, and I'll salt it again when I flip it over on the pan. You could put Italian seasoning on here or any other seasonings that you'd like, but we found that salt is just right. So I'm going to pop this in the oven for 10 minutes, and I'll flip it over for another 10 minutes, and it should be just right. Next thing we're going to do is cut up the tomatoes, and if my daughter were here, she would like to cut these into very small pieces, but I'm just going to half them. She loves this salad, but she does like the tomatoes in smaller bits. Her husband does too. So it's definitely your preference, but I'm lazy enough and always in a hurry enough to just do them in half like this. And this is 2.5 cups of tomatoes. You can use cherry tomatoes, you can use a whole tomato, which I've just chopped up whole tomatoes before, but this is a very decent amount of tomato, maybe more than you're used to in a pasta salad, but it makes the salad. So very important step. Okay, we have a cup of fresh basil. I just have a plant that I have on the windowsill right now. And so we're going to want to chop that. Just 1 cup. And this will go in the salad. You can imagine how good this smells. And this really adds a flavor punch to the salad. So I wouldn't want to sub this out in any degree. So we'll get a little container for that. And then we have spinach. It calls for 2 cups of chopped spinach. And I'm just going to use spinach in a bag and chop up a couple cups of it. Chopped and ready to go. The only other thing that we'll be putting in here is we'll do half a can of olives. We don't want to use the whole can, even though my taste buds would like to, but we are still minimizing fat. It's just so good for our health to minimize it. But a half a can gives us all the flavor that we need. And then I cooked the pasta earlier, and I used the Barilla protein penne. Penne is not my favorite pasta shape for this salad. I like the rotini the best, and or the farfalle, which is the bow tie. But I'm out of both, and I'm making the salad. But I did think the ingredients of this were interesting. It has the semolina wheat and durum wheat flour, but then it has lentil flour, pea protein, chickpea flour, barley flour, and spelt flour. So those are the only ingredients, and that's why it's higher protein. And it is, and it tastes amazing. It tastes just like the old white pasta that we all used to eat. I mean, it's still white, but it's just got the extra fiber and protein. So I cooked this a little bit ago, so these are sticking together a little bit, but they won't once we get the dressing on. So let's go ahead and just put everything in here. We'll add the tofu at the end. And we'll toss this all together. You can see the colors are amazing. Okay, but we do need to get some dressing on here. So here is the magical dressing for this salad. This is simple, and we're following this recipe to the T from this cookbook again, the Plant You cookbook. This is her go-to balsamic recipe. So it has 5 ingredients, very fast and easy to make. So let me go grab that stuff. All right, for the dressing, we're going to start with the balsamic for the base. So it's just balsamic vinegar. This calls for 6 tablespoons. So we're just going to go ahead and measure it out with a measuring cup. This is a 1/4 cup. So I'll just do a 1/4 cup and then half that again for the balsamic. And then we're going to add some mustard. I said I was going to follow her recipe exactly. I guess that's not actually true. Hers calls for, whoa, that squirted right at me. Hers calls for Dijon mustard, and I just don't know what all the excitement's about with Dijon mustard. I am not a fan. I do, however, love just plain old yellow mustard. I think it's fantastic. So it works really well in this recipe, in my opinion. I think it's much better than the Dijon. And then her recipe also calls for 1.5 teaspoons of maple syrup, but we have discovered that we like a tablespoon better. So if you're worried about that much maple syrup, you can cut that in half. but we think that flavor is just right. And then the spices that we'll add are simply garlic powder. There's 1.5 teaspoons of garlic powder, 1.5 teaspoons of dried basil, and 1.5 teaspoons of salt. So easy to remember and do. And that is it. We'll just put a lid on it, shake it up nicely. And this is really good. Delicious. Not a drop of oil in there. So we're going to go ahead. This recipe actually only calls for 6 tablespoons of this dressing. And whew, sorry. I think I just broke my bowl. Okay, this is actually plenty potent. So 6 tablespoons is literally all you need. So potent but delicious. Like, don't get the wrong idea that it's too strong. When I smelled it, 4, 5, 6. When we first made it, and just a smidge more. I was afraid it would be too strong, but then you eat it and it is absolutely amazing. So there we are with the salad, and you could just eat the salad just like this, but we like to add the tofu in for just a little more taste, texture, and protein. So that's coming right up. It's still baking. I'm going to flip it over right now, let it cool, and then we'll come back when it's time to put that in. We're back, and I just pulled this tofu out of the oven. So you can see it's lightly browned. It's got more elasticity to it. It really does kind of feel like a piece of cheese. And so I'm going to cool this down briefly and then dice them up a little on the cutting board and put half of this in the salad, just half of the block. The rest I'll put in the fridge or freezer, and it'll be there when I need it for another recipe. It's surprising how often having these little roasted slices of tofu comes in handy when you're trying to make plant-based cooking easy. So you'll always be glad to have these around. Okay, this is about half of them. So I'm just going to slice them lengthwise one more time and then just cut up into little bite-sized pieces. So if you can see that. So I'm going to go ahead and toss them in the salad. And then mix that in, and this tofu especially will take on the flavor of the dressing, and it is just perfection. So we have this salad. There you go. This salad makes the best leftovers. So I'm just going to keep this in the fridge. We'll eat it for a couple days. My husband will take it for lunch, and you never need to add more dressing unless that's to your taste. You'll have some leftover if you follow the recipe, if you want to add to it. But this is just the best. And if you heap up a pile of vegetables with it and have it with some fruit, it is a full meal with everything that you need. Okay, just wanted to try a bite in front of you. Like to get tomato and some tofu pasta and the dressing. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Got some olives in there too. Oh, do I have the olives? I didn't put the olives in. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm putting the olives in right now. All right, let's try this again. Maybe you don't love olives like I do, but wow, they really make the dish. Sorry, a sink full of dirty dishes there. It's been a long day with grandkids visiting and everything. But there we go. Oh, I need a tomato on there. Yeah, that just makes it even more amazing. All right, try this. You're going to love it. If you take it to a party, everyone will beg you for the recipe. It will make no difference whether they're whole food, plant-based or not. This will be one of the most popular salads at the party. I promise you. Have a great night. Hello, friends. So the next salad that we're going to feature today is this amazing potato salad. I tried the recipe and thought, sounds good, but is it really going to taste good? And it exceeded my expectations. So we'll go in and cook that up. I'm just out here right now in the greenhouse, kind of picking the last of the sugar snap peas. They are so delicious, and we pair them up with other meals because they're really good for protein. Peas are an excellent vegetable source of protein, just FYI. So I just wanted to introduce the salad. We'll go in and cook that up. And there's that little tip for you as well. They don't have to be from your own garden. That's just a bonus. And we are grateful and privileged to have the garden. So I never take that for granted. So let's get started on that salad. For this salad, we're going to just start with some red potatoes. These are just the smaller ones. I get them in a big 8-pound bag. The recipe calls for 2 pounds of potatoes, and so this is roughly 2 pounds here. At this size, there's like 12 or 13 potatoes there. Usually I double the recipe, but I'm not doing that today. As I wash them, I just go ahead and trim off any spots, and then I'm just going to throw them in the pan whole. Now I've done this 2 different ways, and so I'm actually experimenting this time to see which way I like better. I've cut them up small before I cooked them, and that worked fine. But I think I'm going to try it this way, where I just cook them and then cut them up. One thing I also tried in the past making this salad is I was following the recipe. I'll show you where we get the recipe. And it recommended just, oops, that one is going to be a loss, it looks like. Nope. Got half of the potato out of that. A little bit rotten there, but we'll save what we can. But the original recipe has you just quarter the potato, and we all agreed in a family taste test with the extended family that we didn't love that. We thought that the potato chunks were too big. So you had all this amazing sauce that we're going to make and tasty accompaniments, and you just have to like plow through this big old chunk of potato to get all the rest of the really yummy stuff. So definitely recommend smaller pieces on the potatoes. So we're going to go ahead and just put these on the stove, boil them for 10 minutes or so. We don't want them too soft. And then we'll dice them up a little bit from there. So we'll go ahead and cook these while we prep the other ingredients. Okay, let's get the sauce made. This is the most important part. Super, super easy. What I have here is 2 cans. Okay, you should know I'm doubling the recipe for the sauce, even though I didn't double the recipe for the rest of the salad because I want leftover sauce. I have something I need it for tomorrow. So I'm making twice the sauce that we're going to need for the salad. And this is navy beans that I'm using, drained and rinsed. But every time I've made this salad before, I've used Great Northern beans. So I know that Great Northern beans are perfection. We're going to find out today if these are as good, because I've actually never used navy beans, even though this is what the recipe specifically calls for. Just so you know, we're basing this recipe on the tangy potato salad recipe from Plant U, but we are doing it a little differently, quite a bit differently, actually, just to make it more to our tastes. So this is the recipe that we're basing it on. Her recipe is delicious as well. We the first time we made it, we followed her instructions to a T, and if you like a little fancier, a little more gourmet, then that was yummy, but we like this better. So we're going to start with the beans, then we're going to, for our seasonings, we just really have garlic powder and salt. So put that in. The recipe will be in the description and or on our blog. Then we're going to use I have dill in my measuring spoon, but that's okay. It's all going to the same place. So we are going to do apple cider vinegar. We're going to do a tablespoon of that. And we're going to do a couple of teaspoons of plain mustard. Now, she calls for Dijon, and I'll say it again. Not a Dijon fan, not even a little bit. However, I do like mustard, so a couple teaspoons of that. I'm not as brave as some of you who just squirt it in. I do with some recipes, but not this one. All right, and that is it. We're going to go ahead and blend this up. Now, this blender is my Ninja. This is a nice mid-price blender. I haven't been able to purchase a Vitamix or Blendtec, some of the higher end blenders that I know so many of you have and love. And someday I'll probably get one. But this one, in the meantime, I absolutely adore, and I've had it for a good long time, and it blends everything. So far, I have zero complaints about this, and it's a heck of a lot cheaper than a Blendtec or the other kinds. So highly recommend, and we'll have a link for this also in the comments if you like. So let's go ahead and blend this up. Okay, so I've run into this before when I've made it. I've been blending it, but it's a little too thick. So I just simply add some water. And it doesn't take much, so I'll just pour in maybe an 1/8 cup of water just to thin it out a little bit. Okay, looking good. I'm gonna just clear the sides a smidge. Smells good. Now it is starting to warm up because I'm blending it so much, so I'll probably add just a little bit more water here. And hopefully this is the final blend. Okay, so I'll just kind of show you what that looks like. Super creamy. Tasting it. Very good. Wow, that is delicious. Okay, I'm going to let this cool down a little bit, and I'll go ahead and cut up the potatoes while it does. Okay, I'm here cutting up the potatoes, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut them into cubes about that size. Woo, still a little warm. Of course, this could be any size that you prefer. I like the skins, so I'm just going to keep those in the mix. I think it adds a lot to the salad, actually. And as I said, these are still warm, but they are the perfect consistency. So they're not cooked so much that they're falling apart, but they are nice and tender. So go ahead and cut these up and be back to put it all together. Here we are. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So let's just put everything together. We have half of a red onion diced that we'll throw in there. We have 1 red pepper chopped up. The colors of this are really pleasing. We have half a cup of chopped up dill pickles. And I always just have these on hand, the hamburger chips. So those are easy to chop quickly how you want them. And we have 2 tablespoons of fresh dill chopped. So that dill, ooh, it's good. It's so good. And then we have this. We'll mix it all together. And I'll go and grab the sauce. I actually put it in the fridge for a minute. It wasn't super warm, but I want to eat this right away. So I cooled it down. So I will be back. There is our sauce. Very, very creamy. And my verdict on the beans is I do like the Great Northern beans just a tiny bit more. So I'll make it with that next time. I didn't have any in the pantry today, so maybe it was, but there's our sauce. Gonna mix this in. I don't want to over stir it too much because of still want some nice potato chunks. But the color and the flavor of this is just unbeatable. And then the beans they just make a shockingly good dressing. Let me show you what that looks like. I almost feel like I could put a little bit more in there, and I have the luxury since I doubled the recipe. So I just want it, I mean, when your sauce is nothing but beans with some spices, you can put as much as you darn well please in there. All right, let's dish it up and try some. Oh, okay, there's what it looks like. And grab a fork. Put the camera up further and let's give it a shot. Get a piece of potato and all the stuff in there. Okay, there it is. This is incredible. People will, without question, be asking you for this recipe. And then they're going to be shocked when they hear what it is. It keeps very well in the fridge for several days because we've done it before, many times actually. the combo of creaminess and crunchy little bits of pepper and pickle and the flavor. Ooh, it is tangy. It is delicious. So these salads are so exciting to me because they don't have fat. They don't have added oil. Excuse me, sorry, terrible manners. They just are so full of nutrients and goodness and protein and fiber, and yet they are a treat to eat. So, got to try these salads. Enjoy your summer.